Oh, by the hammer of Thor!
What's up, guys? What we're reviewing today, it's the Bowtie Man here, and what we're reviewing today is Airwatch. And here is the product hype video.
Having Airwatch on your personal device gives you access to the apps and resources you need to get work done on the go. Let's take a look at Bill's device before he enrolls in Airwatch. Pretty standard stuff. He's got his personal apps like Netflix, Angry Birds, and Facebook. And here's what his iPad looks like after he enrolls in Airwatch. The Airwatch apps get him access to work email and other resources now appear alongside his personal apps, which haven't changed. Bill's Wi-Fi and VPN have also been configured for him, and now he's ready to work anytime, anywhere. Now that Bill's iPad is enrolled in Airwatch, what kind of access does that give his IT administrator, John? Let's take a tour of the Airwatch admin console and see exactly what John sees. The main dashboard gives John a snapshot of all devices enrolled in Airwatch, and provides basic information like security, so he can make sure devices remain compliant and are not compromised by security threats. Platform and operating system breakdowns, so he knows which device types are most commonly used. And ownership types, so that John knows which devices have been company issued or employee owned. Now let's click into the employee owned device and look for Bill's iPad. Locating Bill's iPad, John sees basic information and details about the work apps and resources that were pushed to Bill's device when he enrolled. None of Bill's personal apps or information, including photos, videos, or text messages, are visible to John. By clicking on Bill's device, John gets some additional details regarding the corporate data that's on Bill's iPad. In the Summary tab, John sees details about Bill as the user and his device, including the work apps and content he's downloaded. Remember Bill's personal apps, Netflix, Angry Birds, and Facebook? John can't see those in the console because Bill's personal apps are completely separate, and quite frankly, not a concern to John. Same goes for content. Only corporate documents are displayed in the console, and nothing else. John can also perform a number of actions if he needs to. Imagine Bill loses his iPad and asks John for help. John can immediately lock Bill's device so that no one can get access to his work email or other sensitive content. Then John can send a push notification to Bill's iPad to alert anyone who may find it to contact him. If no one contacts Bill about his missing iPad, John can take additional actions to protect Bill's corporate data. Performing an enterprise wipe allows John to remove work apps and resources while keeping Bill's personal apps and data intact. What happens if Bill's device is found after John does an enterprise wipe? Fortunately, Bill does not have to re-download his personal apps and can quickly and easily re-enroll in Airwatch to get his work apps and data back on his device.
Now, what Airwatch does. Airwatch is a mobile management system that allows businesses and schools to deploy different types of devices throughout their organizations. And so my take here. First off, as far as device management platforms, this one's a pretty easy one to use. It's got a lot of parts to it, but it's all parts that if you understand how devices are managed, it's not hard to learn. And it's pretty easy to put devices into the system. It's pretty easy to add applications into the system. It actually syncs with Apple's volume purchase platform. One of the other things that's really nice about it is you can put different devices into the system. It works really well with iOS and Mac, but you can also put Windows devices in it, and you can put Chromebooks in it as well. It's also wireless, so for instance, when you're syncing an iPad, it syncs wirelessly. You don't have to hook it up. Previously, if you wanted to do that with something like Apple Configurator, you had to hook up the device to sync that iPad. Now, one of the things that I would love to see is Airwatch do a scaled down version for parents, because I think there is something to be said that if parents know how to manage actual devices, then they're not just giving a kid a device with free reign. For instance, I have a device right now that is on Apple Configurator, and my daughter just uses it as a camera. Now, some of the things that are a little bit that you got to be careful with a little bit. First off, some of the devices that you can put into Airwatch, you're not going to get a lot out of Airwatch for them. For instance, when you look at a Chromebook, Airwatch is going to allow you to put that Chromebook into Airwatch, and you're going to be able to see what applications are on that Chromebook, but you cannot add applications to the Chromebook from Airwatch. That's more a Google Apps avenue that you would have to do that. You have to be careful in the setup. There's a lot of things you can turn on and off on Airwatch, and if you're not careful in the setup, you can really hinder your organization. And really, one of the things that's kind of is a little bit tough with it at times is because it's wireless, and it's great that it's wireless, but because it's wireless, at times it takes some time for a device to communicate with Airwatch. So for instance, if you go and you deploy a profile that says, okay, we're going to turn off this certain feature, if the device is not communicating with Airwatch, for instance, maybe somebody has the device off at that point, then that profile may not load right away, and it may take time for that profile to load, and you may have to reset that iPad for that profile to load, and that's a little tough. So my overall take care for education, depending on what your device you're getting here, I think Airwatch is great. I think it's a great platform that makes mobile device management very, very easy. But I think you need to look at what device you're getting and what are your real goals when you manage devices.